Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Miguel back again with another video. And naturally, ever since the Z Fold came out, there was only a matter of time before every single phone manufacturer was going to start making their own versions. And that's where Tecno also comes in. That's where today's video also comes in, because today the phone that I have is the Phantom V Fold. This is a phone from Tecno, and a few days back I actually reviewed the flip version of Tecno, which again was also a direct competitor to the Z Flip from Samsung. Today I have the Phantom V Fold, which is a first generation phone from Tecno. But considering that this is a first gen phone, this actually ticks a lot of very promising boxes, especially from a price point of view, but also even from a features point of view. So if you are in the market looking for a foldable but you don't want to spend a lot of money, this is probably a phone that you should consider. Let's go ahead and unbox it and see what we have. So looking at the box, this is a foldable, unfolding box. I'm gonna get into that a little bit, but let's look at some of the specs here. So this comes with 256 gigs of internal storage. You do have the option to get it in 512 as well. And this also comes with 12 gigs of RAM. You don't have the option to actually change that. So 12 gigs of RAM is what you are gonna get as a default. And again, opening of the box, you have this unfolding experience similar to the phone, the same concept. Beyond the extraordinary, that's what's mentioned over here. We have the phone over here, which has some instructions about the removal of the top cover, which is not recommended. We also have, okay, this is just the cover. We have, it looks like a SIM ejector pin over here, but apart from that, I think this has the what do you call it, the cover. Yeah, so we do have a cover. It's a pretty decent cover, I should say, because it's made up of not carbon fiber. It's made up to look like carbon fiber, but you also have this stand, which means that you can, you know, put your phone in this way or this way if you want to. I'm not sure whether this is available in your region. This was only available in China in the beginning, and just now we have started to see this available to other parts of the world. We have a pretty hefty charger inside the box. This is a 45-watt charger, so I'm glad to see that a foldable actually has fast charging, unlike the Z Fold 5, which still comes with 25 watts of fast charging. And then we also have this is a USB-A to USB-C cable. All right, so pretty decent unboxing experience, but let's go ahead and look at the actual phone. Let's take this cover off real quick. All right, so the color that we have is the white color. This comes, I believe, with a black color as well. The phone itself is a kind of a rose or a gold color. I think this is, yeah, I don't know what the name of this phone, of the color is. I'm not sure if it's mentioned over here. I'm not sure what the official name of the color is, but this is the white back over here, which is kind of like, this is a polycarbonate, I think, finish, but it mimics vegan leather or kind of leather. So it is a texture back. This is an aluminum body, and I have to say that it looks like Tecno actually tried to mimic. I think there was an effort there to mimic this and make it look like a Z Fold, because it does look very similar. But one of the things is that this is actually bigger than the Z Fold 5. It has a taller aspect ratio, just like the Z Fold 5, but the display is actually much bigger on the front and on the inside. In the Fold phone, it's a little bit wider. So one of the things that I like is that it feels like a natural phone. Like you don't kind of, it doesn't tell you that it's a foldable. You can tell that it's a foldable because of the thickness when it's in its folded state, and this is actually heavy. I think this is just shy of 300 grams, which is pretty heavy. But apart from that, looking at the design, we have a very similar looking speaker grill to the Z Fold. This is honestly kind of like a carbon copy, but we have a stereo speaker on the top and on the bottom. We have the USB-C port over here. We have the SIM tray, which does support dual SIM. We have the fingerprint sensor, which is embedded into the power button, and then we also have the volume rockers. Fingerprint sensor is pretty responsive, and I should say that this also comes with Gorilla Glass Victus only on the front, and on the inside there is no protection whatsoever. If we look at the hinge, so it kind of moves back. So that's one of the feedbacks that I had, and I don't get that that popping sound or that kind of clicking when it's in its fully folded state. I should mention that it does have a little bit of a taper, so it's not really folding fully flat. But the good thing is that there is no gap. So unlike the Z Fold 4, this does not have a gap. Z Fold 5 finally addressed the issue with the gap, but this being a first gen, I'm happy to see that they don't have a gap here. Now, if you look at the display, the front display has a 6.42 inch AMOLED display, which has 120 Hz LTPO display. This will go from 120 to 10 Hz when it's in idle mode. You do have the option to actually change it to auto, or 120 at all times, 90 and 60 as well if you want to. So you have those options. The resolution for the cover screen is a 1080p resolution, so it's full HD. On the inside, we have a 7.85 inch also AMOLED display, also 120 LTPO display. So glad to see that both of the displays have an LTPO display. Again, this will go down to 10 Hz as well when it's in idle mode, but you can set it up to a 120 at all times, or 90, or even 60. So you do have a wide option when it comes to that. One of the things that I actually don't like about the display is the brightness. So Tecno claims that this will go up to 1000 nits, but doesn't really go to 1000 nits. It mostly stays up to 500, which is really low in today's standards. So you are gonna struggle a little bit when you are in harsh sunlight. So that's one of the things that I didn't like. But apart from that, I have no other complaints about the display. There is one thing, there is no HDR plus support on this. But apart from that, the colors, the display, and everything else seems pretty decent here. If we talk about the performance, this comes with MediaTek's Dimensity 9000 Plus chip. And if we want to compare that directly, then that will compete with the Snapdragon's 8 Gen 1 chip. When we looked at Antutu, then this gave us around 900,000 points, which I think is pretty decent. Actually, 993,000 points, which is just shy of 1 million. And this is similar numbers to the 8 Gen 1 chip. This does come with 12 gigs of RAM, so you are getting really good performance when it comes to that. One other thing that I wanted to mention is that you do have the operating system, which allows you a lot of multi-functioning tasks. So being a foldable display, this will give you the ability to do that, which is pretty nice. You can actually even minimize it in the background while you can do other stuff. So that's one of the things that I actually like about this, is that I mean, this is almost in every single app. So whatever app you're going to open up, you are going to have the option to split the screen or actually minimize it. If we talk about the battery, this is probably the only foldable phone that has a 5000 milliampere battery. That's probably the biggest battery that I've seen on any foldable. The Z Fold, I think even right now, the Z Fold 5 comes with 4400 milliamperes of battery, which is I think a little bit low. But I should mention that bigger doesn't always mean better, because the battery on this is, even though it's 5000 milliamperes, it's not really the best battery out there. It will give you about 92 hours on an endurance rating test is what we actually got. So it's not bad at all by any means, but it's not really the best either. But you do have the 45-watt charger, which will charge your phone from 0 to 100% in about 40 minutes. So that's good to see there. If we talk about the cameras now, that's where it kind of gets interesting, because this has two main 50 megapixel cameras. One is a telephoto lens, and one is the main 15 megapixel camera. And then we also have a 13 megapixel ultra wide camera. Now, the thing about the cameras is, I'll give you a very brief feedback about this, is that the photo quality is really good. But the only thing that I did notice is that it kind of overexposes the pictures sometimes. So the whites go towards blue. So that's one thing. And the other thing is that the colors are not as saturated as I would like. So you do have to kind of adjust it in the settings, or if you do have kind of like a software Lightroom, you're gonna have to go in there and kind of adjust the colors a little bit, or sort of edit them a little bit. That's my only feedback. Night photography was also pretty decent, so you do get a lot of light, and and a camera that performs well in low light is usually a good camera in daylight as well. This will record in 4K at 30 FPS and 1080p at 60 and 30 FPS. And if we talk about the selfie cameras as well, this has a 16 megapixel camera here on the front, and if we fold it, then we have a 32 megapixel camera. The front camera will actually record in 1080p at 30 FPS as well. So you don't get 4K, but you do get 1080p if you're looking for that. Now, if we talk about the price, which is probably the only reason why you should buy this phone, I mean, it's not a cheap phone by any means, but if we compare it to other flagship foldables out there, not flagship, foldables are not really flagship, but if we do compare them to other foldables out there, this is about $300, $400, $500 cheaper than what you can get. So this will cost you, now this is not really official in every part of the world, so the price may vary, but I'm gonna give you a ballpark. This will cost you around 3,000 dirhams. And if we convert that, that's around $800. Now, $800 to $900 is the range, depending on what variant you go with, if you buy the 512 gig or the 256 gig option. So yes, if you are in the market looking for a foldable that doesn't break your bank, I mean, it will still, you know, burn a hole in your pocket. So if you are looking for a foldable and you want to stay, I wouldn't say budget, because $800 is not really a budget phone. You can actually buy any flagship phone out there for $800. You can buy an iPhone 15. You can buy the S24 Ultra, you can buy the S23 Ultra. You can buy one of the previous generation phones of the Z Fold 4 maybe, or even the 3. But I mean, as I mentioned, if you really like foldables and you don't have a lot of money to spend, then you probably should look here, because this is a pretty decent package. And apart from maybe one or two things, this is not bad at all. The only thing that I actually don't like is that it's actually pretty difficult for the phone to open. So I was struggling a little bit, and the only thing that I actually don't like is this part. I don't like that. I mean, I wish that it stayed at one point, and but it doesn't. So that's kind of what bothers me about this. But apart from that, guys, this is the Tecno Phantom V Fold, first generation foldable device from Tecno. Let me know what your thoughts are about this. Would you actually consider buying this over something like the Z Fold 5, or even the Oppo Find N3, or even the OnePlus Foldable? So let me know what your thoughts are, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.